Hello and welcome to this new video. I'm Chris from Synched Stories, and we're going to talk about panel gutters today. And not just about panel gutters and their design, it's even more specific than so. It's about the intersection design, how the white space in between the corners of four panels, how that white space actually looks. And I will try to identify the four best ways that one can place one's panels so to avoid the worst case scenarios. And I'm going to show you examples here from my own UD11, the 987 degrees centigrade, and I'm going to try to explain to you why these are some of these are better and some of these are worse. And here's the publication I'm in the midst of drawing and coloring and hand lettering and all that. This is the 987 degrees centigrade, which is a science fiction action thriller, and it's going to be very dramatic. And you see Barry Riley, the arrogant space captain, here on the first page, or the cover page I should say. And we have the sort of the umbrella name for the whole series, which is Unlimited Danger. Unlimited Danger, and it's season 1. So 987 degrees centigrade is only the first installment, the first comic book, and then we have 7 others to come. So on the back cover here we see the 987 degrees centigrade here as the first one, and then we have Collision Course Earth and Open Source Force, the Alien Signal, Forbidden Territory, The Power of Colloidiana, Countdown, Genesis, and then as number 8 or 18, The Final Battle. Alright, so that's a little ad for a little plugging here, and this is relevant also because this is a page, as you see here in the background, this is a page from UD11 here. So we are going to get some live examples of how to modify the panels in order to get them more pleasing as a whole, as the whole page is getting more pleasing to look at. So what I'm going to do in this video is 2 things. First, I'm going to describe to you 3 types of panel intersections that are possible. And then I'm going to talk about 4 categories where I rank these 3 types in a particular way. So I combine them in a specific way. So you'll see when I get there. So first let's look at what I mean by gutter intersection. So this is a typical page here from UD11 here. I'm zooming in so you can see here, and when I'm talking about I'm zooming in a lot more here. now. So what I will be speaking about is let's say maybe a bad example, but maybe we should, okay, let's just do it like this. It's about the intersection when this gutter here, this is a gutter, the white space in between panels is a gutter. So this is a gutter on row 2, and this is a gutter on row 1. So here's one panel, and here's another panel, and there's a gutter in between. And here are 2 more panels, and there's a gutter in between. So what I'm talking about when I'm saying gutter intersections, I'm talking about how is the white space formed when gutters are close to each other. If gutters are very far away, as they are here in this example, then there is not much of an issue. The problems occur when we move the gutters closer to each other. So I'm going to now give you a little example here. And now what I will be doing now is I'm grabbing, so I'm holding the first row up here, the first upper, if I zoom out again here, the first row is up here, and this is the second row. I already moved it a little bit now, so but we can do this once more here. I can repeat this. So I was actually so I'm dragging it horizontally here now, back to the original position. And what will be doing now is to demonstrate that I'm not dragging it horizontally. The first row is stable, and then I'm moving only the second row, and the closer I get here to this intersection, that's where the potential problems may arise in terms of the beauty of the page and the beauty of the intersection from a layout kind of aesthetics point of view. So this is the issue. Where should I put my panel crossing? How should the crossing be finalized? Should I leave it like this, or should I leave it like this, or should I leave it like this, or how? Where should I put it to be not making any big mistake in terms of looking amateurish or looking non-professional or looking bad? What is the safe or sort of the best practice? So I'll be talking about that right now. And in order to understand the whole discussion here, I point out once more that in this description, in this particular video, I'm always assuming that row 1, the panels in row 1, all have been created and drawn. So row 1 and all the panels in it are sort of glued in their position. So we don't move anything in row 1. Row 1 is glued to the paper or glued to the background or glued. And what we are doing now, when we are deciding where the gutter intersection should actually go, is that we're moving row 2 horizontally. And this is also exactly what you will be facing when you're actually doing this work yourself. I mean, normally you execute a page in that order. You draw the first row first, and then you start drawing on row 2, and then you may come into this question, where should I stop? How big should my panel on the first panel, for instance, or the second panel on row 2? How big should that be? I mean, could it really end? Could it really end here, or should I end it a little earlier? Or should I drag it over so that it covers the whole gutter over here instead? Or what should I do? Alright, so now let's do our typology. The 3 types. The 3 main positions. And I'm now also going to draw a reference. Let's see if I can get some magic tools somewhere. Where are my tools? Well, no tools are visible. Anyway, okay, let's skip that. I'll just select the color here instead. Okay, red. Let's use red. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a reference line, and I'm now pressing B as in brush on my keyboard, and I'm doing a couple of brush diameter changes, and I'm now holding shift down, and I am just drawing a red line vertically here across the whole, like that. Okay. And why am I doing this? Because in this example I will be using this vertical line from the panel on the left panel on row 1 as a reference point. So I can use this as a reference point, this vertical line on the left panel, or I can use this vertical line as a reference point on this panel. But in this example I'm just using this line. So I could have chosen either, it doesn't matter, but you just have to have something to talk around and to describe when we're going to talk about numbers, and we're going to count from this axis here. And the point is that this red line is attached to the row 1 here, up here, because row 1 is stationary. So the red line is stationary also. So both row 1 and the red line are now stationary, so that we can move row B and then see how far away from the red line we are moving around, and try to get a grip on what kind of system or what kind of values we should be regarding as good. All right, so now we have 3 positions here, which I have sort of decided to use as, how should I say, standard positions. Okay, so the first one, and the easiest, of course, let's see if I can find my movable panel down here. Okay, so we're back to the movable panel here, and I'm now going to drag it as I did. Okay, so we have this here, and I'm now positioning this exactly as the row 1 is positioned. So this is what I called a straight position. So it's a straight gutter going from row 1 to row 2, or as I say, row A and row B. I usually don't I don't number my rows in a number way, but I use letters instead, A, B, C, D. All right, so this is type 1 then. It's a straight intersection, just like it's like a cross. All right, that's the first one. Then we have the other one, which is a generic type, so to speak. I could say that this first type, when there is an exact crossing here, that is actually not a general description of anything, because that's a very particular exact position. There is no deviation from the red line whatsoever. It's perfectly aligned with the red line. So this left line here is perfectly over the red line. So the panels, so this panel's right panel border is exactly at the same horizontal position as this panel's panel border, right? So that's the, so they are exactly aligned. And because the gutters are the same in my publication, at least, and they should they should always be the same, I think. That's my design. So they are always in this particular type 1 here, like a straight intersection. Then of course these are also aligned, so the left border on both row 1 and row 2 here are also aligned. So but all these lines are aligned. All right, so that's type A. Now type B is if I move it a little bit more. Let's say I move it over like that. That is a type which I would call in between. So this could be approximately like half in the middle here, or something, in the middle between the two, in the middle of the gutter, so to speak. So that's one example of an in-between position. But it's not really the gutter here I'm interested in. It's just the term in between is not related to the gutter in terms of it being inside the gutter. So I mean, if we could think it like that, maybe it's a little offset from the red line, but not having crossed this line. Of course, we could have a type like that, but I'm saying that there are a lot of individual positions here where we have which we could call in-betweens, because all of these, I say, all of these are not pleasing to the eye. So I'm moving a little bit here and a little bit there, and so this is an in-between, and then this is an in-between position, and this is an in-between intersection, etc. So that was type 2. And then type 3 is what I'm going to talk about more here, because type 3 is over let's see, where could it be? It could be something like that, and then something like that. That is type 3. And that one I'm calling safe. This is a safe position. And the reason why this is safe is because the distance is far enough from the white space, from this, if we can say this red line here. It's far enough from the red line to be aesthetically pleasing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw, let's say I can do, okay, let's do it like this. So what I'm saying is this here. This distance here is 2.5 GW, and GW stands for gutter width. So this is, okay, I should have made it nicer here. Okay, this is one gutter width here. Oh, okay. So now, actually, this is wrong. I made it too. Sorry, I'll just have to fix this. Sorry, I'm confusing you, perhaps, but it was certainly not my intention. I just made it a little bit too long, because let's just adjust this. What did I do now? There it is. Okay, so it should have been to this. Okay, so we're talking about, I showed the distance to the right right border, or to the left border of the right panel. But I shouldn't, when we're talking about offsets here, we're talking, so if we're counting from the left, then the offset is also on the left panel. So if our reference point is attached to the left panel, the question is then how much should I move the left panel here? So it's not about this panel. It's a leftmost panel on row 1 and the leftmost panel on row 2. And so this panel here, the edge here on this panel here, has to move at least 2.5 gutter widths in order for this to be aesthetically pleasing. So this is my take on it, and the reason why exactly 2.5 gutter widths is so acceptable or so good is because it has something to do with the white space, of course. So the white space, according to me at least, is cannot be too concentrated. I can so it creates a certain instability. If we have a like here, for instance, on the right here, like if you have a, oh whoops, we have a let's see, we have page up, page down. Okay. In this case, for instance, here it doesn't look nice because it looks like we're like in the we don't know what we're doing. It's sort of there's no continuity. There's no it's like you're off on the 45 degrees here or something. It's like a crossing which is sort of the architect of the crossing hadn't thought about that this house here had to be refurbished and built out, and suddenly the street had to be I mean, it's just, it doesn't look pleasing. So what I'm saying is that there is a limit where the design is best, and that is 2.5 gutter widths. So you can think like this, that if we go back to our let's see here, if I have my rows here, okay, movable rows here. So if I go back to the position where these are like perfectly lined, like we have a perfectly straight crossing here, 90-degree angles everywhere, and you have exact the lines are perfectly lined. Then you have to move the row 2 here at least to 2.5 gutter widths to make it pleasing, because what we ultimately want in a very good page design is that there is like a puzzle. So you have to sort of create a puzzle or a collage in which you have some predictability, but then some how to say, some inspiration or some so it's like my usual saying that it has to be perfectly imperfect. It has to be perfectly arranged, but not boring. And so then this is I mean, I can always I can also speak of it in terms of if we go back to this setup over here. Let's see, it's like, let's say we move it like approximately what we had it. Like we do something like this. Then what we could say is that we are sort of, or even better, like this. Well, why is this bad? Because it looks like you made a mistake. It looks like you actually intended it to be exactly straight, but then you slipped in you slipped in Photoshop, or you slipped on the paper when you mounted the panel on the page design. So one rule then is that it cannot, and this goes for, of course, for drawing as well, that some lines cannot be too close, because they are, it looks like you made a mistake. So, and that goes for colors as well in some. So if you want to have a palette of colors, then the colors, there must be a certain distance in between the colors to make it look good. They cannot be very close to each other, because then there is no variety. Or or the variety is so small that it doesn't really feel like a variety. So at least that's my take on it, in a sort of philosophical way, that we have to think about these things and start experimenting with them and finding out the reasons why and all that, and the ultimate reason why, of course, is that it looks good. Okay. So I'm going to say that this is actually the best position, but this is also the best position, and this is also the best position, because all of these three are 2.5 gutter widths or more. So this is what I'm proposing here. Okay, so let's go back and check the what I should be talking about here. So we have the 4 categories then, and those are very good, bad, and very bad. So now let's rank them, and let's start with the very bad ones. And the very bad ones, I would say, my estimation is that the bad ones, the very bad ones, are simply the ones that I have been describing as the I'll see if I can just get it back there. Okay, I have my layer here on the other monitor here in Photoshop. So okay, so the very bad ones are here. So when the left panel on row 2 is either here or here, in between values here, to the if it's getting better over here, but it's not getting really good until here. So this is almost okay, but still is bad. Bad, very, very, very bad, very bad, very bad, very bad, very bad, very, very bad, very bad, better, very good, like that. Something like that. So now you may ask, if we have very bad even here, what is bad then? Or so actually bad is not has anything to do with the in-betweeners. Bad is a ranking I give only to this particular situation, which is kind of hard to perhaps describe, but bad is this situation here, when we have, let's say I'm moving the row 2. Bad is a situation in which we have one crossing with a straight line, or a straight crossing, perfectly lined, zero offset. Or we can have even two such. We can have one more here, a straight one. But then we have another one. In this case we have two. Just I talked about this simple example, that we have one straight one and then two others, whatever they are. So what I'm saying is that you cannot have it like this. You cannot have one straight crossing and then, I'm assuming here, of course, that this panel, the first panel on row 2 here, is actually left lined as it always is. But so you have a straight crossing here, straight intersection, but then you have a like a in-betweener here. You can almost say it's almost super good, but it should be a little more to the left. But it's still a weird one. But regardless, that's the whole thing here. Regardless of whether it's an in-betweener or a safe one, as I type class them. Regardless, the idea is that if you have one straight and then some other ones types here over in other positions, then it becomes unaesthetic. It's unpleasing to the eye. So this is bad. It's not even okay. You cannot have this, I say. This is my rule. I would never ever have a design like this. This is ugly in my world. Okay, so that's, we have done 4 and 3, and now we go to ranking number 2, which is good. And good simply means offset 0.0 gutter widths, which is our straight line here, a straight row, gutter, perfectly lined on row 1 and row 2 there. So that's good. It's okay. It's okay. It's acceptable. It's but the premise is that you have to have all of your gutters aligned in this way on row 1 and row 2. So you have to have the first one here, and this one here has to go straight down also, and the third one has also to go down straight. So this is the sort of condition that you have to fulfill, that you have to have all of them. And if you don't have all of them, then it becomes a bad one. So then it's not okay. So that's my rule, and I think that's a reasonable one. And then we go back to number 1. Offset is greater than 2.5 gutter widths. So we have 1 gutter width there, we have another gutter width there, and then a half one comes there. So this is a super good one, this is a super good one, this is a super good one. In terms of this crossing here. But of course, if you move it, so the trick is, of course, that you have to synchronize all of the crossings, not just one. So I could, for example, if we just speak of this one here, let's say that I put it like over here. So now this distance between the red line and this border here is more than 2.5 gutter widths, which is perfect. It's very good. It's a very good crossing. It feels very like the puzzle pieces like the panels are perfectly lined, perfectly. It's like bricks on a wall that the mason has perfectly lined them so that they keep together nicely and robustly. And so this crossing here is now okay. But now we see that this crossing here is absolutely very bad, because it's much less than 2.5 gutter widths. It's so if we count from the red, if the red line was over here and we started counting there, then this would be something like 0.8 or something. So in the middle of nowhere, right? So in the no man's land. So my point here is that you have to think about all the gutters on these 2 rows, and of course in every intersection. So the same thing has to be done on the whole page here. So A has to be synchronized with B, row B and row 2, and row 2 has to be synchronized with row 3, and then row 3 and row 4 has also to be synchronized. Every one of these intersections has to be inspected and designed nicely already from the start. All right, so I think that pretty much sums it up. We can quickly repeat here, ranking from 4. So all the in-betweens, very bad. All the offsets greater than 0 and less than 2.5. Those are in-betweens, and we are rejecting all of them. It shouldn't be there. The bad ones are where you have one intersection with a straight offset or a straight gutter, or you can have one, or you can have two, but then you have some other intersection which have some other offset, whether that offset is so-called a safe one or not. But so if the last one is a safe one, it's still bad. The whole row will be sort of rejected as or regarded as bad. And if you have the last one intersection is a in-betweener, then it's still bad. So there's no you cannot mix straight intersections with some other type, I say. So all of these situations are bad. And then we have on the positive side now, we're getting more and more positive here. The good one is one in which you have straight intersections, where the offset is 0 gutter width, and where all the intersections on that pair of rows all are straight. So unlike ranking number 3, where you had one or two straight ones and then some other type. Okay, so all with offset 0 straight, that's good. That's regarded as good. And then we have the very good one, is that if you have all of the intersections on the pair of rows, if they have an offset of 2.5 or more of gutter width, then they are safe, and then they look good. Then they give the whole page a firm and robust feeling. All right, so this is sort of wraps it up for this time. Quick reminder here: Unlimited Danger Season 1, 987 degrees centigrade. This is Barry Riley in a dangerous situation, and this upcoming comic book, 40 pages, full color, full action, thriller, super story, is under production now and will be available later on as a printed comic book in high quality print. So I thank you for listening to this video, and I hope you will having a really good day. Bye bye. See you next time.